Good morning. Yesterday, the committee held a hearing to consider Christopher Wray as the next FBI director. I hope everybody was impressed as I was with his testimony. I believe Mr. Wray is a man of principle. I believe he's, as he told every member of the committee, about being an independent person. So be an independent leader of the FBI, and that's what it needs at this critical juncture. I take Mr. Wray at his word when he plainly and consistently states that his loyalty will be to the Constitution of our country and nothing and no one else. I was pleased to see many of my colleagues express support for his nomination after the hearing concluded. I look forward to considering his nomination next week. Traditionally, FBI director nominees are not held over in committee, and I assume this will remain true for Mr. Wray's nomination.
Is that true?
Turning to today's agenda, the following nominees are on the agenda for the first time, and the Democratic side has asked that they be held over this week. So the following nominees will be held over, and we have the requisite number of people here to at least accomplish this holdover, if there's no objection. Trevor McFadden, D.C. District Court. Jeff Clark, Associate Attorney General, Environment, Natural Resources. Beth Williams, Associate Attorney or Assistant Attorney General, Office of Legal Counsel. Mr. Huber is on our agenda to be a U.S. Attorney for Utah. Typically, the committee doesn't hold over nominees to be U.S. attorneys, but Senator Feinstein has requested that he be held over because she sent questions to him on Monday that he hasn't answered yet, and we're going to honor Senator Feinstein's request. And I'll note that there were several weeks in which to send these questions to the nominee. Furthermore, general questions were sent to all U.S. attorney nominees, which departs from the normal committee practice. Until now, the committee has only sent written questions to U.S. attorney nominees when a specific issue arises in particular nominee background. I'm certainly not going to say that members can't ask questions, and I'll honor the request, but I intend to process this nominee at our next markup. Today, so that nominee's held over because we have enough people here to do that according to our rules. Today, we'll vote on the nomination of Mr. Bush and Mr. Newsom to be circuit court judges, and Mr. Schiff to be on the Court of Federal Claims. I'm very pleased that we'll be also voting on Tim Kelly to be the D.C. District Court. As you know, Tim is Chief Counsel for National Security and Crime on the committee, and I appreciate the minority not holding his nomination over the usual 1 week. And for practicing traditional defense, often shown to the nominee of the chairman and ranking member. Now, turning to the nominees we're voting on, I know the other side is concerned about the blog posts some of these nominees have written, but these same colleagues didn't have that concern in 2013 when my side made points about blogging by one of President Obama's nominees. This blogger that I just referred to, Mr. Boo, wrote on many political issues and spoke against President Bush and Senators McCain and Blunt, as well as Mrs. Blunt. He even admitted that he knew that he shouldn't be a judge in one of his statements. I'm not comfortable reading his post here in public setting, but members of the minority certain set the standard that prolific bloggers who write with no holds barred are certainly eligible to be judges. I don't think we should change that standard now. To be clear, these blog posts were both extremely political in nature and showed a lack, in my view, of judicial temperament, but this was acceptable to people in the Obama administration at that time, and so controversial blogs are not a disqualification to becoming a federal judge. When I look at these nominees' records, I look at more than their blog posts. I look at their records. I also look at what people who know them say about these people. I received a letter from Christy Moore from Kentucky. She's known Mr. Bush for 20 years, and she writes to tell us that she's, quote, confident he will follow the rule of law regardless of his personal and political opinions. Ms. Moore is a lifelong registered Democrat and a Planned Parenthood Board of Directors member. Similarly, an ACLU member, Mr. Snyder, said that Mr. Bush will, quote, make an excellent circuit judge, end of quote. Several other members of the Democratic Party who know Mr. Bush well have supported his nomination and have explained how Mr. Bush is respectful of different points of view. I don't think these folks would have taken the time to write in support of his nomination if they didn't believe in what they were writing. He also won numerous awards for his legal work in Kentucky. We also are voting on Damian Schiff to the federal claims judgeship. His career has been defined by defending ordinary citizens' property rights against government intrusion. He successfully argued a case before the Supreme Court on behalf of a family who wanted to build a home but were hampered by unreasonable restrictions at the EPA. The court ruled on behalf of his client's argument 9-0. Because of Mr. Schiff's advocacy in this case, all Americans are now able to challenge erroneous EPA rulings in court. He received the California Lawyers Magazine Attorney of the Year in Appellate Law Award for his work on that case. We'll also vote on Kevin Newsom for the 11th Circuit. Mr. Newsom is an exceptionally accomplished nominee who has spent at least 20 years building an impressive legal career. He began his career clerking for both the 9th Circuit and for Judge Souter on the Supreme Court. He served as Alabama Solicitor General. In the course of his legal career, he has argued 4 cases before our Supreme Court. The committee has received several letters of support applauding Mr. Newsom's professionalism and qualifications. These letters come from both lifelong Democrats and Republicans. I look forward to supporting Newsom's nomination. And finally, I'm very pleased to report Tim Kelly out of committee today. I was surprised to see I'm not going to say that. We'll strike that out. Not only has Tim done an excellent job working on this committee for the people of this country, but he spent many years as a federal prosecutor, including time as an assistant U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia and as trial attorney in public integrity section at DOJ, where he prosecuted public corruption cases. Tim will make an excellent judge, and I'm pleased to report his nomination today.